related to optimal gut health, metabolism, and foods and nutrition and supplements and detox rules and hormone balancing that you need to know to start learning from your own body, to start embodying your unique bio-individuality and creating more clarity and peace in your life. So this is why I created the gut-brain method, because of the amount of time and work that I spent with my one-on-one VIP clients, and I found a way to get that knowledge and information into an online program to make it accessible for a lot more people. At this point in my life, I'm only able to work with the VIP one-on-one people, but I do want everyone to be able to have access to this information. And if you know me well, you know that the practice that I preach is that your body is the only healer that you and I both are going to learn from. And that's what the gut-brain method is about. It's about combining nutrition science with mindfulness, finding out the root cause of your symptoms and issues with your health. And most of the time it's within your gut health, and by embracing your unique bio-individuality, we're able to create the protocol and the lifestyle and the diet that's right for you. After years of struggling with my own health issues, I developed the gut-brain method because I also was able to help other people to improve their well-being. And that's why each module includes a guided meditation, theta healing, hypnosis, sleep meditation, body scan meditation, to help you embody that knowledge. Because very often information is not the only thing that we need. There's also embedded programs in our body and some of the fears and hesitations, that anxieties and fears that are not allowing us to step into the highest version of ourselves. And it would be my honor to be able to help you to embody that version of yourself by purchasing the gut-brain method guide that I've created for you guys, and finally able to offer it. But when it comes to my offerings for one-on-one consultations, my practice revolves around a few testings that I do, and some of them namely are food sensitivities and intolerance. This test actually changed my life around 15 years ago, when I still worked on Wall Street and I tried every diet. I failed and I started again, and I was, thinking that I'm a failure because I couldn't keep up with the diet. And there was a dietitian 15 years ago that ran the blood panel on me to create a diet that's uniquely tailored to me according to my antibodies of my body. And that's what it does. The food sensitivities and intolerance panel helped me to understand some of the reactions that I was having to certain foods that were not allergies, that I was still able to digest them, but they didn't make me feel good. Or as I like to say, I loved them, but they didn't love me back. So there is no harmony, no love, no happiness between us. So this test tests for up to 240 foods. And the value of it is around $700. It's a blood panel that I do in my office, and I'm happy to offer it to most of you, all my graduates of my course. If you learned from me and you want to do this test, email me and we can ship it to you, and you can do it at home. I'll teach you how. Well, you'll receive instructions. And with that, you're able to create personalized nutrition recommendations, okay? Some of the foods that you should be avoiding, some of the foods that you should be limiting the intake of, and some of the foods that you should be eating more of. And this test specifically, you cannot order it yourself. You do need a provider for this, because this is from the most legit, authentic, and accurate lab that you want to do it with. I wouldn't recommend any of those marketed to consumer testings. They're very quick, they're not as accurate, and their business model revolves around selling you supplements after you do that. You choose, I'm not against it, but if you choose to work with me, you'll receive the best information. And then the next thing that I wanted to go over is the second test that I do for my clients. It's called the stool test, comprehensive stool test that I do for my clients that helps them understand the root cause and of most of their symptoms, such as skin issues, low energy, or hair loss, fatigue. And what it does is it tests 5 different aspects of gut health. So what is gut health? When we say gut health, it's connected to your, brain health via the gut-brain axis. All of this is correct, but not many of us understand what gut health comprised of. And it's comprised of 5 different aspects or functions. Number 1 is digestion. Digestion, which is relied on all types of enzymes to break down protein, to break down fats. They're released by the pancreas and your liver. And then there's bile, which is also released by the gallbladder to break down the fats. And we need to make sure that there's a sufficient amount of your body to be able to break down some of the products that I just mentioned. And this is the number 1 thing that we test. Some people may or may not need enzymes. Some people may need other like herbal, like herbs, apple cider vinegar or bitters to help stimulate digestion. And some people might not need it. Then the second thing, we test for inflammation. Inflammation is something that happens to your gut lining in response to chronic stress or sudden stress, such as it could be food poisoning, it could be inflammation to some of the foods that you've been eating and overindulging. And again, not everyone has inflammation, and inflammation is treated with diet and food and some supplements. And some of you may be familiar, like some of the most anti-inflammatory compounds such as turmeric, omega-3s, quercetin, zinc, L-glutamine, aloe vera, and collagen. Again, for some people who they might be taking it as part of the lifestyle, so that keeps their inflammation low, but it doesn't mean it creates a healthy gut because there's so many other things. And let's talk about number 3. One of the health aspect of gut health is microbiome, the total makeup of bacteria, gut-friendly bacteria, how much of it, the overgrowth or too little, all of that creates an optimal microbiome. Or the opposite of optimal microbiome is dysbiosis. Dysbiosis of imbalance of microbes in your gut. And that could be measured, the total abundance, diversity, and variety of the bacteria in your gut. It could be an overgrowth of SIBO, small intestinal bacterial growth, when there's an overgrowth of certain bacteria that gets into your small intestines from your large intestine where it does not belong. And that's also treated with specific strains of probiotics, not just any probiotics that you see on the internet. And then we also test, the fasting could help with the overgrowth, meal timing, fermented foods, in addition to probiotics, starches, fibers. That's this whole separate conversation. And then we're testing for infections. Infections are very important, and it's very often until you test, you never know, and in the treatment is very specific and precise as well. Some of the infections include parasitic infections, parasites. It includes yeast infection, candida, yeast overgrowth. It includes pathogenic bacteria, meaning bad bacteria, such as H. pylori and other ones. And that is something that sometimes needs a treatment of antibiotic, okay? And we could get it, like, look, this is not something that happens for just like with sick people. It could happen with anyone. I test a lot of health coaches, models, other healthcare practitioners, and those people, they're already living the lifestyle. They're already doing a lot of right things, and they end up having these issues. So no one is somehow impervious to these things. So this report contains almost 20 pages of everything that I just said. There's a whole page on parasites that we're not guessing. You might or may not have parasites. I think you do. That's not how we do it. we test everything, and there's a whole page on parasites. And I actually have a story how I diagnosed myself with parasites. I've been working in this industry for a while, and then around like 3 or 4 years ago, I started having eczema. First came on my wrist, and then I put all these creams and steroids. I tried everything, and then the following month it came back on my chest, on my belly, and by then I knew that it's something from the inside. So I did this test for myself, and I did have parasites. So I did an entire anti-parasitic treatment, which is very in-depth, and might record a separate video on that. But the eczema never came back after I treated myself, okay? So this was a very important piece of information. And like I said, there's everything that I just shared, everything is tested here. There's whole pages on different types of, this is for digestion. These are all types of enzymes, fat breakdown products, some of the metabolic short chain fatty acids products, this whole page on bacterias, different bacterias, whether it's high and low. We see a lot of low Akkermansia with some people. We see different bacteria, different response depending on the diet that you eat and your lifestyle, obviously. Here's more pathogenic bacteria and yeast. More on parasitology. There's a whole second page, on parasites, and the inflammation biomarkers. So that's what I do. That's just one thing out of my program. Based on that, I create a supplement and meal planning for you to understand what you should be adding and how you should be using and why. Most importantly, why. And last but not least, for weight loss, I also use continuous glucose monitor, which helps my body and which helps my clients to understand how their body metabolizes different carbohydrates and why they're having a stubborn weight loss. But very often, just fixing the gut health creates, it really moves the needle and creates the difference for my clients, for those who've struggled with stubborn weight loss. And there's gut bacteria, which are associated with weight loss. And some people who are very skinny, I saw that they have a lot of those bacteria. So that's it for today about my program. I just wanted to go over some of my specialized testing that I do. To learn more, I encourage you to schedule a gut health evaluation with me, which is elladavar.me/gut health. With that, you'll be able to talk to me and to see if this program is for you. And maybe you don't need any of these 3 tests, you want to do something different, or you just need 1 test, out of the 3. So that's, or you have done the test someplace else, you want me to review it, you want me to help you. That's something that I'm happy to do, to see how we can work together over that call. You can schedule that call, and